Okay, Fast Furious 7. This film takes place, well, part of it actually takes place during 6, but if you were to watch 6, you could go right into 7. They do a great job with the continuity for that. Remember Shaw? Villain from the last one? Well, he's got a brother played by Jason Statham, who was like, you know what? I am pissed that you guys pretty much crippled my brother. I'm going to find out who was involved, and I'm going to kill each individual member. I remember at the end of, during 6, they did end up killing Han, sorry. So, you're probably thinking, I got Statham. Yeah. I want to see Statham versus The Rock, and Statham versus Vin Diesel. You get that. You get that. They do that well. But it's not just Statham's character come back for revenge. They throw in a whole other subplot, which parallels perfectly what's going on with that story. And introduces more villains, which allows Paul Walker to have somebody to face off against. Alright. In some beautiful choreographed fight sequences. With, I want to say it's Tony Jaa. Guy's just ridiculous. This film franchise has pretty much figured out, like, okay, so once we're in the plot, we're going to be in one location. We're going to do a bunch of slow motion shots. We're going to show women in bikinis. A car chase. Probably a fist fight. That's then going to lead to a location change. Yeah. We'll have, again, snappy, witty one-liners. Some slow motion shots. Probably some women in bikinis. And then a car chase scene. Maybe a fist fight. Go from that to another location where it's okay. It's time for the there's no way that could absolutely possibly happen car chase scene, which will probably also have a fist fight and snappy one-liners and witty dialogue. All the characters: Tyrese, Ludacris, Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, who doesn't get used that well. Yeah, Dwayne Johnson. All the surviving characters, when they're together, they mesh so well. It seems like they're having this fantastic time with each other, which makes the dialogue just flow that much more. Of course, this is done by James Wan, who also did the Saw movies, so you get a lot of that, super close, in tight shots where you get these really great. Here's the emotion of the character, and then it's slowly pan back pretty far. Here's the whole scene. Zoom back into here's the individual going on in the scene. This is just ridiculous fun. It's Expendables with cars. Every single main character has the John McClane level of invulnerability, with human speeds that sometimes reach Legolas and a Hobbit. You're like, you can't run that fast. You can't do that. You did that. I just watched you do that. Man, there's no laws of physics. And anything can be done in a car, as long as you plan for it. Can you tell the scenes where it's not Paul Walker? If you didn't know, and you weren't really looking for it, you might not catch the scenes where it's not Paul Walker, it's his brother. That makes some sections of dialogue kind of hard. Because there are characters where, they don't want to say their final goodbyes, but it feels like they are. And you almost tell, I wonder if that's the last scene they had together before he died. And Vin Diesel has a soliloquy towards the end where it's, he's talking about the character Brian, but you're also at least talking about Paul, and it gets kind of, you're like, man, it's kind of deep. Because Fast and Furious has had such a huge amount of family throughout the whole process. Here's that in kind of the wrap up, and you're like, man. Could they do an 8th one? Yeah. I think it'd be tough without Paul Walker's character. I mean, it would. There's a lot that he did in this franchise. Then, of course, being a Juan film, towards the very end, there is like the super Paul Walker supercut, where it's like, here's bits and pieces of him from like every single movie. So you get to see him with like, you know, the curly, almost kind of Justin Timberlake NSYNC sort of hair when they in the first film, and all these moments throughout like the last film. You're like, man, yeah, this is like his film franchise. Much people love by Vin Diesel for it. This is really the Paul Walker film franchise, and it's a nice send off. If I've got one complaint about the film, beyond the fact that it went from being, the first one was very realistic, you know, the way they did car chases and car scenes and all that, to just super over the top, is they've got Ronda Rousey, and she is so horrible in it. I think she has like 2 lines of dialogue in a fight with Michelle Rodriguez. So again, when you hear who's in the film, you're like, oh, she fights with Michelle Rodriguez. Yeah, she does. And it's a good fight sequence. They realize that you can add in a well choreographed fight sequence, and then have it go stupid over the top, but it's still well choreographed, and just ridiculous over the top car chases. So if you saw the trailer is the film. It's just missing some of the subplot, which is needed to make sure that the like 2 hours and 20 minutes all make sense, and it flows very well.